Hey everybody, it's Lana. What's your generation? I hope you're all having a great weekend. Remember, you like, comment, subscribe. So today, I'm going to try to make the best light of it as I can. Not really going to go into what kind of personified this, but we're going to call today's episode Check Yourself. So the reason it's called Check Yourself, you might not think you're a stalker because you're helping somebody else out by stalking somebody, driving by their house, driving by their business. Don't get wrapped up in it. You might think that you're not a stalker because these people are public and you're a fan and you're allowed to be part of their lives, and they have a fan page and they have merchandise and you're allowed to be part of their lives. You need to check yourself. If you have a crying breakdown because a band breaks up, or you hate somebody because somebody in that band is dating somebody that instead of dating you, you need to check yourself. Now, on the other end of that spectrum, if this is happening to you, you need to get help. You are not going to get through this alone. They need professional help, and you need a restraining order. You need to make sure and document. I know not every police department is as diligent as others, but you need to document. We have cameras everywhere. And y'all, stalking has been going on for absolute generations. Let me just give you like a few quick deals. Rebecca Schaefer, 1989, fatally shot at her apartment door by John Bardo, an obsessed fan who hired a private investigator to obtain her address from the DMV and led directly to California passing the nation's anti-stalking law and Federal Driver's License Protection Act. John Lennon, 1980, shot and killed. Mark David Chapman, deranged fan, stalked and murdered former Beatle outside his New York City apartment building. Case remains a watershed monument of celebrity security. Bajor. Ricardo Lopez became dangerously obsessed with the Icelandic singer and constructed a letter bomb filled with acid. He mailed the package to her London home and filmed his own suicide. Before authorities discovered his plot, the bomb was intercepted by police. Sandra Bullock, 2014, Joshua James Corbett broke into Sandra Bullock's home in the middle of the night. Bullock hid in her closet, called 911 while Corbett, carrying a loaded weapon and a notebook declaring his obsessive delusions, was arrested inside the property. So, Caitlin Clark, WNBA star, was a target of a stalker who traveled to Indianapolis, sent numerous sexually explicit messages, and repeatedly threatened her. The FBI intervened and the individual was arrested and banned from all local arenas. So, there's all kinds of cases for music icons, athletes. As many people that love Taylor Swift hate Taylor Swift. As many people that would love to see her and just touch her or whatever, there's people that don't like her because she married Travis Kelce. Check yourself. You really need to check yourself. You don't ever become obsessed by somebody who doesn't even know your name. Let that sink in, folks. If you are so obsessed about somebody and they don't even know your name, you need to check yourself. So, in the older generations, it was a little bit harder. I mean, who was it? There was I think she was an astronaut, traveled all the way across the country or however many states she traveled across with a diaper and so forth to kill her husband's lover or wife or something. I don't remember, but that's stalking. Tina Sinatra. She was a prominent case involving the silent generation celebrity. James Ferrantino was arrested and pled guilty to no contest of misdemeanor stalking and making threats against Frank Sinatra's daughter, Tina, following their breakup. So it isn't always just a fan. It can be a breakup. You've got the tragic catalyst. While stalkers targeted early Hollywood idols, comprehensive anti-stalking legislation did not exist until the 1990s. It took so many people being killed before this happened. Again, because people just turned their head and they looked away. Don't look away. If you see something, you say something. Everybody's got cameras today. But that one was triggered by the murder of the 1980s television star Rebecca Schaefer by an obsessed fan who tracked her down. So there's specialized threat management units in police departments that have anti-stalking and stuff. People are like, well, how do I know if it's stalking? And we will get in that. There is physical stalking. There is digital stalking. Before it was more physical than anything else, but in this day and age, it's physical and there's digital stalking. 1920s to 1940s, stalking required a physical proximity of somebody. You had to have in-person surveillance, targets, following workplaces, loitering, sending physical letters, long before fingerprints and all of that. Today, stalkers exploit digital technology, meaning they no longer need to leave their homes. They use social media tracking, location sharing, air tags. Who in their right mind ever came up with air tags and thought that should legally be sold to people? It's a good way to catch cheaters. It's a good way to track your kids. Data brokers constantly monitor victims remotely. Legal protections, definitions. So stalking is really a distinct pattern. And it's a pattern-based crime in all 50 states. The first anti-stalking law was passed in 1990 in California, eventually expanding to include federal laws and coverage of even cyber stalking. You've got some people think they're in love, and that's why they do it. There's a lot of people that stalk and trash other people, and they've got the internet and anonymity. I think stalkers a long time ago had more anonymity, but I don't know that stalkers want that. I think they want that fame. I don't think they don't want people to, they definitely want their victim to know them. And there's so many fake social media accounts out there. Gosh, it's just, it's really crazy. It really is. So celebrity stalking is driven by a psychological phenomenon of erotomania, a delusion that a famous person is secretly in love with their stalker. Compounded by absorption addiction model, a celebrity worship. In this state, a fan compensates for personal identity and deficiencies or loneliness by usually obsessing on a star. And sometimes it's not all bad. Sometimes somebody may just said hi to you and you were like the first person that was ever nice to them. There was an episode of Big Bang Theory, and she's like, well, she touched my arm for 2 Mississippis. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. So, you can look at it in a funny way, but, in the end. So, the erotomania and delusional disorders, a small percentage of fans develop the Claremont syndrome, a condition while they're delusionally believe a celebrity is reciprocating their emotions, communicating with them through hidden messages in movies, music, media, I thought about this whenever, they leave Easter eggs and things like Taylor Swift leaves little Easter eggs. I hope you got this. And I think sometimes she's really setting herself up for stalking. So then you have the illusion of intimacy. The golden age of Hollywood and subsequent rise of television created a parasocial relationship where fans feel that they intimately know their stars because they consume their faces and live on screen daily. So you got your psychological vulnerabilities. Individuals with poor relationship qualities, susceptible to boredom, experiencing major life transitions like a job loss, a divorce, are highly likely to use celebrity obsession as a coping mechanism, which can escalate into intrusive or stalking behaviors. Media and tabloid culture, they've been stalking them for years. The National Enquirer, people buying pictures. People get stalked. And I don't think just because you're a celebrity that you deserve that. So A fan appreciates your work from a healthy distance. That's great. I love certain singers. I might cross the street if I noticed them across the street, but probably not. Um, a stalker crosses boundaries by engaging in a pattern of repeated, unwanted attention and surveillance that causes you to feel fear, intimidation, and distress. If you see somebody stalking somebody else, tell somebody before it becomes to feel fear of intimidation or distress. Get that person busted. Because, so basically stalking, ignoring boundaries, life invasion, obsessive information gathering, creating fake accounts, intimidation of threats. Okay, fans aside, even if you don't like somebody and you are driving by their business or you are driving by their house or you went through a divorce, you ignore boundaries, you're sneaking into you're creating fake accounts to send messages to stalk them online, setting up cameras, driving by their business, driving by their house, driving by their kids at school. It just blows my mind. Ugh. So ignoring boundaries can be, you don't think you're doing anything wrong because you're sending them a gift or you just show up at their house. One time, maybe not doing anything wrong. After you've been told to stop, you're doing something wrong. Stop. You don't have any right to anybody. Stop. Life invasion, showing up at their home, their workplace, other personal spaces without a valid professional reason or even a social reason for that matter. I've seen people try to latch on to other people as a +1 to stalk. Obsessive information gathering. So there's a difference between you being 12 and you being 40 doing this. I know the young kids, they save the pictures. We've all got Pinterest. We've saved different things. But you can still be a stalker and be 12. Bullies do it all the time. Oh yeah, stalking's a form. Bullying, or let me rephrase that. Bullying's a form of stalking. It really is. Creating a fake account so you can watch what they're doing, stalk what they're doing, intimidation by threats, anything like that. That is stalking. So if you believe someone is a stalker, the recommended safety steps include stop communicating. You're not going to make them better. You're not going to make them stop. And even if you tell them to kick rocks and call them every name in the book, that is still communication in the world. Stop it. Doesn't matter what happened 5 years ago. Stop it. Document everything. Camera, phone calls, voicemails. Contact the authorities. Okay, so even if they don't do anything on the very first one, you keep making these calls, you keep making these reports, you keep accumulating this evidence, they are going to have to do something before long. And don't just take a policeman's word that something can't be done. You go talk to a lawyer. They'll make sure something gets done. So, and they're going to ask you, so what are they specifically doing? Well, they're showing up at my workplace. They're driving by my business. They're sending messages from fake accounts. So we started, with the whole celebrity thing because everybody's like, well, that's part of being famous. But you don't deserve to be stalked. Nobody does. I see it happen in divorces. We see it happen all the time. Somebody stalking their ex. I just watched a case file on a lady that killed her ex-husband and she tried to use her kids to stalk. Oh yeah. Nosing around, finding out what they're doing, where they're living now. It's insane. So it could be one of these. It could be all of these. And then there could be none of these as well. I know that sounds confusing, but I'll get to that. So some people might have a psychotic disorder, personality disorders, substance abuse disorders, mood disorders. So you got conditions like schizophrenia, delusional disorders, the erotomania can cause individuals to hold fixed false beliefs that a person is in love with them or destined to be with them. Personality disorders. Oh, wow. There's a whole laundry list of these. Borderline narcissistic, antisocial personality disorders contribute to stalking. These conditions can lead to intense fears of rejection and ability to process boundaries, need for control, and lack of empathy. Substance use disorders, drug and alcohol misuse frequently lowers inhibitions, impairs judgment, and exacerbates aggressive and obsessive tendencies. Mood disorders, severe depression, bipolar mania can result in obsessive fixation on an individual or inability to cope with the end of a relationship. Here's where I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I do want to throw this big flag up. If somebody has an intellectual disorder or an autism spectrum disorder, they may not be noticing your social cues. You may have to be very upfront and forward. They don't always understand that appropriate interpersonal boundaries. So just ignoring the behavior will not get you anywhere. If somebody makes you uncomfortable, tell them. Even somebody with autism or ID will understand. They don't necessarily have a lot of the self-control that you and I should have. So there is restraining orders. I hate to tell you to relocate somewhere, change your address. If you do think that you are being stalked, if you have a mailbox, get a P.O. box. There's been so many movies that people have been killed because of stalking. Am I immune to it? Nope. I've been stalked. Sure have. In law enforcement, post-law enforcement, been in an abusive relationship after spending years of getting people out of them. I've wound myself in one. So there's absolutely no one that this can't happen to. But the likelihood of you being able to handle it on your own with somebody who has any of these things, a psychotic disorder, a personality disorder, a substance abuse disorder, or just use disorder, or a mood disorder, you are not operating on a one-on-one thing. All right, y'all? You are operating on somebody who's up here. It's kind of like you hear the Superman strength of a mom that lifted a car off of something that fell on somebody she loved. That's where they're operating. You operate here. They are operating here all the time. And they're in law enforcement, we have this thing called horizontal gaze nystagmus. Basically, when your eyes come over here and it sits here and it bounces, it shows that you have a substance on board. Well, that's where a stalker is. They're up here and they're just bouncing. They're out of control. No way about it. And you are not going to handle them here. Now, I do have an equalizer. I don't discuss religion and politics, but I tell you what, I am a packing mama. And anytime you want to come on my side, we'll see who wins. I've mentioned that more than once. But even then, somebody gets to take on me. There's a lot of places I can't take my weapon. I can't take my weapon to work. I'm in a state office. It's not allowed. There's a lot of places that won't handle. My son-in-law is by far the best one I've ever seen. If his build, demeanor, and looks isn't intimidating enough that says, don't fuck with me, the fact that he's always packing makes me feel so safe and warm when I go out. But, don't carry if you don't think you're going to use. If you don't think you can put a bullet between somebody's eyes, do not carry that gun. And trust me, no matter how much you practice in shooting, till it comes time to pull down on somebody and do it, that's when you find out. It either is reaction or you pause. It's just life. But get help. Tell as many people as you know. And it doesn't necessarily get to the violent level, but if you're going and looking and seeing what somebody else is doing for that person's behavior, you're just as bad. And whether it's a business, it's something personal, it's an ex, just do the right thing. That whole integrity, do the right thing when nobody's looking. Practice some integrity. Don't be a jacknozzle. Nobody likes a jacknozzle. I don't care if it's your best friend. Instead of doing that, once you be that reality check to your best friend, it says, stop your shit. Quit this. Grow up. Go get whatever help you need, but stop. Don't enable them. Don't do it. Anyway, we're going to cut this off today because, boy, can I go on for hours about this. But I don't know how many shorts I'll do about it because it's not the happiest little thing in the world, but I just want people aware. There's so many different forms and so many different levels. Don't be that person. But if you are the person that's being stalked, then, first, it may be that they hate you and you may come across that you think they're really cool. But anybody makes you feel uncomfortable, pay attention to that. You don't have to put up with that. It doesn't matter who it is. But, okay, I said I was going to quit. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. Hallelujah, praise Jesus. I'm going to quit. I hope y'all have a great rest of your weekend. Sorry it wasn't the brightest thing in the world. It was kind of a sore spot with me here lately on a friend of mine being stalked. But anyway, I hope y'all have a very blessed weekend. Be safe out there. Like, comment. Want some help? Tell me where you're at. I'll send you the resources to get the help. That is on whether you are the stalker or the stalkie. I will help you. I'd rather prevent a tragedy than one more happen. So y'all have a good weekend. Here it comes. What's your generation?